Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Hashtag Makeup Together, how to make a simple dinner. Tonight I am going to be making some meatballs. It's going to have like a fig glaze, and I'll just go ahead and say right now, I didn't make the fig glaze. Actually, there's a gentleman at my job, his wife is really good at cooking, and she brought home, or she gave him to give to us this like a fig preserve. It is so good. And so we have some more of it, and I thought about doing some meatballs just kind of mixed in with that. I think it's going to just pair very nicely. I'm also going to be making some gluten-free mac and cheese and a little bit of Swiss chard on the side. So the first thing that I'm going to go ahead and get started is I have the water for the macaroni noodles, which I'm using Bonanza. These are made from chickpeas, so I like this brand because the noodles don't really stick together as much. So I'm going to be using this, and I'm going to go ahead and let the water start boiling for that, and we're going to go ahead and start putting all the ingredients together for the meatballs. Alright, so I have the ground beef in here. I have some onions that I cut up that I'm going to just add in. This is just a half an onion. Might add more depending on how it looks once it's all mixed, but I think that's good for now. I'm also going to be adding some salt, a little bit of black pepper in here, and I try to get like the same amount of each. And my salt, if you see me ever shake like a lot of salt on the videos, it's because the salt comes out super slow. So I'm just going to add some more stuff. So this is garlic powder. Gonna add a little bit of red cayenne. I like the sweet and salty together, so since I'm going to be using like a sweet fig sauce, I wanted to add some cayenne just to give it a little kick. I'm also going to be adding in some oregano, and then I'm also going to add in a little bit of garlic or of onion powder. All right, I didn't have a fork or a spoon to get it out with, so I'm just going to kind of sprinkle some of that in there. Give it some taste, and then I'm going to be adding in a little bit of ketchup. This isn't a meatloaf, but I think that this will taste good in it. And this is just a organic Simple Truth, and this does not have any high fructose corn syrup. Only has 4 grams of sugar in it, so that's all we're gonna add. I'm just eyeballing it really. So then I'm going to just take my fork. I am going to end up having to use my hands for it, but I just wanted to break up the ground beef into smaller pieces. So we're going to just get that all stabbed and good and just mix it all up. Alright, so I got the meat mixed up. I'm going to go ahead and add another round of seasonings. This is just to make sure that all of the seasonings go around. I'm not going to add any more cayenne pepper after this because I don't want it to be too spicy. I like it spicy, but some people in my family aren't big fans, and I want to make something that we all can enjoy. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of those. And the reason I'm adding more of the seasoning is just because now that I broke it up, I feel like maybe some of it didn't get enough of the seasoning. So we're just going to do a round of that, and then I'm going to mix everything back in. Alright, so we got the meatballs ready. I'm going to set these off to the side, and I'm going to go ahead and start grating some cheese that I'm going to be putting into the macaroni. So I'm going to be using some Colby Jack. I actually wanted to do this with cheddar, but I don't have any. So we're going to be using the Colby Jack. You can switch it up. You can really make macaroni with any kind of cheese, and I'm going to be using some other types of cheeses that I have as well, but this is the only one that I need to grate. So I'm going to just grate this. We'll see how many cups this is. This is just normally like what I would cut for the cheese. So I have all the cheese grated. This is about 4 cups of cheese. So this is going to go on the inside and then throughout, or on the top as well. So we got the cheese. So I'm still waiting on the water to start boiling. I have it all the way up. It's just being really slow today. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing the meatballs. Both the macaroni and the meatballs are going to go into the oven at the same time. So I'm just going to go ahead and prep this. And I'm going to be using this. I don't actually know what it's called, but it comes in handy when you're using things like the ground beef that doesn't have drippings at the bottom. So it has a pan like this with the holes, and then this is probably about an inch or so deep, and that'll catch all the drippings. But if you don't have one of these, you know, you can just get a pan that has the sides, put some parchment paper down, and then you'll be good to go. But I'm going to use this. So I'm going to take out some of these. And since this is a lot of ground beef, I'm going to be making larger meatballs than smaller ones. So this is about the size that I want it to be. It's like a little bit bigger than a golf ball. And so I'm going to just set that on there. I'm going to go ahead and make all these meatballs. It's pretty much like it fits in your hand. So, but of course, you know, you can make meatballs whatever size you would like. These are going to be going in the oven on 375 for 18 minutes, or the internal temperature needs to be 160. So I'm hoping that even though these are going to be a little bit bigger, I mean, they're going to shrink in the cooking. But I want to try to keep them all around that same size, and I think that all of these should fit on the pan. That is my hope, obviously. Want them all to be able to fit. Ooh. So I'm going to just go ahead and do all of these meatballs. Alright, so probably about like 6 balls in, I realized that I forgot 2 main ingredients. I got so much on my mind, guys. I don't know how I forgot that. Okay, so I'm going to be putting an egg in. I'm going to be putting in 2 eggs since this is a little bit more than what I normally make. And then this next ingredient. Don't switch the video. I promise this might look like a weird ingredient, but it tastes so good in here. Don't knock it till you try it. So since I'm doing everything gluten-free, I'm not going to be using crackers that I would normally put in here. So I just take like a handful of chips and then just crumple it up. These are lightly salted, wavy, and it'll give you that same kind of thing like if you were to do crackers in here. You can also do like almond flour or something like that, but I have tried this before and it works good. But if you don't want to do that, or you can eat crackers, you can just cut up or smush up probably about like 6 of them or so and add those in there. But the egg is a very important ingredient, and I can't believe I forgot it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just crumple up these nice and good, and then I'm going to mix all of it together. Alright, so the meatballs are done. I decided to do them like big giant ones because I knew that if I did smaller ones they wouldn't fit. So these are going to be like giant meatballs. And the water for the macaroni is just about done. Alright, so now it is time for the macaroni. So I'm going to add in almond milk because I don't drink regular milk. So I'm just going to kind of pour in, I guess, all that's left. But this is a important step. I'm also going to be adding in some butter. So we got 3 of those. I'm going to be adding in this ingredient, cottage cheese, instead of ricotta cheese. I haven't tried it in here before, but we're going to see. So I'm going to add like 2 spoonfuls of that in here. And then I have tried sour cream in macaroni before, and I like the extra taste that it adds. So I have some extra here. I'm going to just add that in. Alright, and then I'm going to stir this up, and then I'm going to add in the cheese. And so normally I do 2 boxes, but there's less people in my household this week. So I only did 1 box. So I'm hoping that this will be enough because I love macaroni and cheese. So I'm going to just stir all this in first, make sure that butter gets nice and melted. And then I am going to add in the cheese. Alright, so this is about 3 cups of cheese, so I have about a cup left. And I want to be able to put that on the top. So I'm going to just go ahead and mix all of that in. This is like the same amount of cheese that I put when I do 2 boxes of these noodles. So we'll see how it turns out with that. So I'm just going to stir it all in. So I got all the cheese incorporated, and the next thing I'm going to do is just add in some salt and pepper, and I'm going to stir that in and then add the top layer of cheese. Alright, so this is what it looks like all done and ready for a top layer of cheese. So I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle some on there. I am going to reserve a little bit more for when it's ready to get out of the oven. I'll probably put the other part, a little bit of the cheese on there, probably about when it has like 10 more minutes to it. So we're just going to add this cheese on there, and then the oven is almost done preheating to 375, and we're going to add in the macaroni and the meatballs. Alright, so I have the fig preserves in here. I added like a little bit of water to kind of make it saucy. And I'm only going to start warming this up when the food has a little bit more time. It just got in there now. And I don't have the recipe for this because I didn't make it, but man, it is amazing. So I'm going to look up some recipes for fig preserves, and I would encourage you to do the same. Alright, so for the green side, we are going to be making some rainbow Swiss chard. This is so simple. I'm literally just going to cut it up. Well, after I wash it, I'm going to cut it up, including the stems because you can eat them. And then I'm going to saute them just with some olive oil, salt, and pepper, and these will be done. Alright, so I have all of my chard chopped, and I'm going to add it into the pan that has some olive oil in it. Alright, so in here I have the chard. I'm just going to kind of cook it until it wilts down a little bit more, and we're just going to eat it like that. In this pan I have the preserves with a little bit of water, and I'm not going to do anything with those yet. I'm not even going to heat it up yet, but I'm going to wait for the meatballs, which have another 6 more minutes. Alright, so the meatballs are almost done. As soon as they get out, I'm just going to pour the preserve over them and serve them like that. Be sure to check out my Instagram to see the final picture and my honest review of how everything came out. If you have watched this far into the video, I really appreciate your support. And be sure to like, subscribe, comment. Feel free to share the video if you would like. And if you have any suggestions, I'd like to hear those. Or if you guys have suggestions for things for me to make in the future, please let me know. I'd be glad to try out your recipes as well. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.